Hi, guys. This is Larry Oliver. Many of you do know who I am, and by now all are just getting to know me a little bit better. Thanks for taking a few minutes of your time to listen to some very important and, I believe, interesting information. When you stop and think about it, all of the non-supervisory, non-exempt employees at NCI, well, in the collection industry in general, in fact, all call center industry employees as a whole are terribly abused and taken advantage of. And I'm pretty sure that I'm not telling you anything new with that tidbit. In fact, what I found to be true is that when I do have a question, a concern, an issue, a grievance, and I finally get to the right management or to a management member at NCI, they deal with these issues and questions and concerns with complete disregard. In fact, they generally just dismiss it and shoo it away like a fly or a piece of trash. And I think probably many of you that have taken concerns and grievances and issues to management have probably been treated about the same. But I can tell you that we can stand together, we can form a union and negotiate a contract and truly have a real voice in our company. So take the next few minutes to learn a little bit more about a union, how to join it, the benefits and advantages it offers, and then take action. Sign an authorization card, and let's take hold of our future together. You might be wondering just exactly what is a union? You know what a union is. It's a group of workers that come together to win respect on the job. Actually, it's a group of workers that actually produces a counterbalance of the unchecked power of NCI. What happens is we actually develop a real, true voice in the running of our company. Right now, with no collective bargaining by way of a union, NCI calls all of the shots, and we as employees either have to accept their terms or find another job. However, with a negotiated contract in place, they cannot make arbitrary changes, dismiss our challenges, issues, complaints, or grievances. In fact, there's a process, an actual process that we would negotiate and agree on ahead of time on how to handle these grievances and issues. And we'll know how that works ahead of time, and there'll be follow-up, and there will be responsibility. People will be held accountable once an issue is raised. So just exactly what's in it for me. Tell me how a union and collective bargaining are going to help me. Well, in general, you'll receive better retirement. We'll be able to enjoy better working conditions and a better working environment. NCI will be held accountable for many of the things they do or attempt to do. They'll be required to do something, for example, about the lack of data integrity, that information that we can't get. They'll be held accountable and asked to provide reasons why our MR disappears or starts missing. The same with post dates. They will have to be held accountable for or prohibited from just arbitrarily changing commission thresholds and MRs. In all, we'll have a better working environment. There'll be better benefits. There'll be better compensation. There'll be paid time off, pursuant to policy, the policy that we all can see and read. We'll have a real voice at work. And again, as I mentioned, we'll develop a process to air issues, grievances, without fear of consequences or retribution. You'll have more family time at the end of the day, and you'll have a heck of a lot less stress, in your daily life. So you might be wondering, okay, I understand all that, but what do we do now? Where do we go from here? And will this actually help improve our communities, the company, and others? Well, you bet. If you stop and think about it, unions can improve our community, our employer, that's NCI, and most of all, our lives. Better compensation leads to higher productivity because we're motivated. Higher productivity leads to better compensation because we produce more, we get paid better. That extra compensation, more compensation, creates a strong tax base for our communities, the local communities where you live. That means, for example, more money for schools so our kids receive better education, more money for infrastructure so we have better services provided by those communities. We actually have healthier local economies. And very important point is there's a healthier relationship that starts building between NCI management and us as the employees. That healthier relationship sure makes it a lot easier to get up bright and early in the morning, like we got to get up at the crack of dawn to be at work at 6 a.m., bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. If you know you've got a good relationship between NCI management, if you know that you've got a voice in your business, it just makes it a heck of a lot easier to get up each morning and come to work. We know that what we do is tough to do it day in, day out for 8 hours a day. But we do know if we're treated right, it makes it a little bit easier. So what now? Okay, well, here's where I'm going to ask you to take action. Decide if you have a basic interest in joining and forming a union. If you do, sign the authorization card. And keep in mind, the authorization card does not obligate you in any way, shape, or form. All it does is say you have a basic interest in forming a union and perhaps developing more information about forming a union. Once we do have a sufficient number of signatures, while the law requires only 30%, I'm really shooting for 60, 65, 70% of these cards to be turned in. And that's because once it goes to vote, many of the people that have signed a card will vote against the union. So I want a vast majority of people to sign those cards so that we'll be relatively assured of a positive vote for the union. Again, once those signatures are in, there's sufficient number, the company actually holds a vote to see if the majority of all the non-exempt and non-supervisory employees want a union. Assuming that we do get a positive vote and the majority wants a union, then all of the employees will, in fact, elect a board to represent them. And the board will be elected from all of the employees. That board is very important in that they'll meet with all the employees and develop all of the important salient initial issues and contract points for the board to put into a contract and then negotiate the contract, hopefully winning that very first contract. Keep in mind that from this moment, actually a few minutes ago, from those few moments ago, every one of you that are listening to this, and even others that aren't listening to it, are now protected by federal law, and it's a strictly enforced law. NCI can't ask ever, nor will they ever be allowed to see the authorization cards, nor can it in any way try to coerce you, provide you misinformation, or fire you because of these activities. You're now protected under the National Labor Relations Act. If they do violate any of these laws, you need to let me know immediately so that we can take appropriate action. Here's a portion of that law. I just want to read it to you, and I quote, "It is hereby declared to be the policy of the United States to encourage the practice and procedure of collective bargaining and to protect the exercise by workers of full freedom of association, self-organization, and designation of representatives of their own choosing, for the purpose of negotiating the terms and conditions of their employment or other mutual aid or protection." That's the National Labor Relations Act. That's part of the law that gives you this incredible protection and confidence, knowing that you can do this freely and you're not going to be discriminated against or have adverse things happen to you. In fact, this law provides specific 29 prohibitions. Those are prohibitions that your employer is barred from doing. And they range from threatening to discharge you if you engage in a union activity to many, many other forms. If you're interested in seeing all 29 specific issues, just let me know, and I'll be happy to get that information to you. Okay, so again, here's one of the most important benefits of union membership, and that is union workers earn higher wages, get more benefits than workers who don't have a voice on the job with the union. In fact, the median weekly earnings of union workers versus non-union workers, there's a 28% differential. Union workers earn, on the average, about 28% more wages than non-union workers. This research study that I've shown parts of here also looks at three other segmented areas of our working population, showing you just exactly how those wages stack up, union versus non-union. And I think it's interesting to take a look at those. Do keep in mind, however, that these are just averages, and they were done across a wide range of industries, so it's not segmented by our industry. The point is, union workers receive more compensation, better benefits, and less stress with a real life outside of work. And here, this final slide in this research area just lets you know of those two of the other three population groups. Again, these numbers illustrate the power of collective bargaining. It doesn't mean that these will be your wages. Again, does that mean you're going to have 28% increase? Probably not, but you will make more money, have a better working environment, and be a lot happier with an active voice in the business. The source I used was the U.S. Department of Labor, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in its most recent data that they have available. The new report will come out late in January of 2011. But these numbers are going to be accurate now and then. Relatively speaking, what we do know is that union workers earn considerably more wages than non-union workers. Okay, so to summarize, and again, I really appreciate you sticking with me this long. The next step is take action. Right below this video, you should see a description of the video. There is, I believe, a clickable link. If that link doesn't click or doesn't work, simply go to the address bar in your internet browser, type in http://alturl.com/cx7kb to download and print the authorization card. Complete it, sign it, and give it back to me during non-working hours. It's really important to remember no discussions, no work on organizing or unions should be discussed during working hours. Only discussed during non-working hours like breaks, lunch, before or after work. You can even, discuss this on company property as long as it's not done during working hours. If you can't print that card off, just let me know during non-working hours, and I will get you an authorization card for you to complete and sign and return to me during non-working hours. If you have any questions at all, please ask me before or after work when you see me and during non-working hours, or email your questions to larry@larryoliver.net, or call me on my cell, 480-242-5747. I'll respond to all emails as well as voicemails as quickly as possible, certainly within 24 to 48 hours. Again, I really appreciate each and every one of you taking these few minutes out of your busy schedule to listen to what I presented relative to the importance of getting a strong, unified voice so that we can have some action, some say in what happens at NCI. There is great strength in unity. That's not just a cliche. If we stand together for a unified purpose of improving the lives of many, we will gain great strength. I'll leave you with one final thought, and that is nobody can go back and start a new beginning, but all of us can start today and make a new ending. So let's start making that new ending at NCI today. Sign the authorization card and get it back to me. Thank you for your time tonight.